with us. Let us know your opinion. What do you think about these particular topics that we are discussing for the morning? I'll be more than glad to read them in the course of the show. I've been joined by Elena Daaku. Ms. Daaku is a member of the New Patriotic Party's communications team, and we have here on this Tuesday morning. Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
I trust you're doing okay.
I'm fine, by God's grace.
Great. And let me also say that Gabriella Tetteh will be joining us shortly, perhaps in the next perhaps in the next 5 minutes. And also Kujua Ferry of the CPP
He's also
would also be joining us very, very soon. But we'll start a conversation regardless. And of course, as typical of Pan-African television, we start our morning discussions with an African story. And of course, we've been following happenings in Nigeria for some time now, ever since the elections took place, and of course we know that there's a court case with regards to this particular election. Opposition parties in Nigeria, they are actually contesting the election results in court, but that hasn't prevented the state from doing what they ought to do, because of the very fact that President Buhari's tenure has come to an end, so there ought to be another person to take over the reins of the country for the next 4 years. Well, they couldn't have waited for the court's verdict on that election petition. They've gone ahead to swear in Bola Tinubu. I've seen videos of him. Of course, our president, our very own, His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, he was present to offer his support and, of course, witness what happened in Nigeria. And it was a very colorful event. The people of Nigeria do not shy away from wearing their own. So often on such occasions, you would see them clad in Nigerian regalia. The agbades and the women with the scarves turned, you know, put on their heads, their headgears. Extremely beautiful sight to behold, if you ask me. So that was what happened in Nigeria yesterday. But what now for Bola Tinubu, after taking over the reins from, somebody in whose government that he was? What next for him? The problems of Nigeria are a lot, and we are all privy to them. We all know the issues pertaining to Nigeria. They may be thriving in terms of music, in terms of football. They are not doing so bad. Again, if you ask me, their movies, Nigerian movies have dominated Africa. But in terms of security, it is a worrying issue. Economic issues, very, very worrying over there. I'll pick the thoughts of Ms. Daaku on yesterday's inauguration. What should we expect? Maybe, I'm not sure she goes to Nigeria. Do you?
Not really.
Not really, but I'm sure she follows keenly what happens over there.
Nigerians are...
What expectations she has of the newly elected or newly sworn-in president, if you ask me, Bola Tinubu.
Good morning once again, and greetings to all watching us, especially all the NPP members in the northern parts of Ghana, the Bono parts of Ghana, Bono East, Ahafo, and let's say the northern parts of Ghana. You know, I know they watch Pan-African a lot, so good morning to them. About Nigeria, you're asking if I had any expectations. Not really, because I'm not a Nigerian. Ghana's matters are top of my priority. My expectation is that they manage to keep their country together. They manage to also prosper, because whether we like it or not, we are all in the same environment. If something happens in Nigeria, whether we like it or not, we are going to have issues. People will come from Nigeria and come here. So if they do well, it's good for all of us. So for me, my expectation is that they do well. But I find it quite interesting how they also do their things. You know, you were mentioning how colorful they were and how yesterday almost everybody was in the Nigerian affair. But we also do that here. When it's time for inaugurations, have you seen the Kentis?
Yeah, we do.
When it's time for any presidential inauguration, whether it's with the NPP or with the NDC, I mean, seamstresses in this town actually go go out, especially for the women. Some of us actually plan our kente weeks and months in advance. It's just that 2021, the NDC made my kente card them because I was waiting for them to, you remember the January set matter for them to elect a speaker, so that in the morning we all dress up and go, and then it turned what it turned. So in the morning I was fast asleep, I couldn't go. But we all turn up in our kente, and the Nigerians also turned up in theirs. When there are national events, Ghanaians also do very well, and that one I will not let you take it from us. And over the years, you can see the fashion sense and how our designers and our seamstresses and our dressmakers are all coming out with various, things to suit people. One of the people who I watched the second lady of Nigeria, the new one, and then the incoming first lady. And I think they are all Muslims. Or, did I get it right? Or
yes,
they are all Muslims?
Yes, they are.
No, the first lady of Nigeria is also a Muslim?
Yes.
I thought she was Christian.
Bola Tinubu, I know, is Muslim.
But his wife is Christian. Check, she's
not,
Christian.
I don't think.
I heard she was a pastor. I checked it out. She's Christian. Okay. So over the time, I'm sure their fashion sense and how they also dress is also going to be a center of attention. Whether we like it or not, they are cultural ambassadors for their country, just like we also have here in Ghana. So they've done well. The only thing that I'm picking this morning is that there are queues for petrol. Serious queues for petrol in Nigeria, because the president announced in his speech that he's going to take away subsidies. Nigeria, they've been on subsidies for over 30 years for petrol. I heard there are no subsidies for other petroleum products, it's just petrol. And last year, the country I heard they spent over 40 trillion naira just on petrol subsidies. And so it has turned into a matter for their economy. So yesterday he announced that he's going to scrap it. And this morning I heard a liter of petrol that was used to sell for 150 naira, 200 naira. It's actually going for 350 naira, and on the black market 500 naira as at this morning. Wow. And if my Nigerian brothers and sisters are listening to us, I mean, when you do things like this, you hurt your own selves. The fact that your president has made an announcement does not mean that you should start holding. But then, as I said, it's their country and they know how they run their things. This brings to the fore the conversations we should all be having as economists in Western Africa over our energy matters. Nigeria, I hear, has 4 refineries. 2 in Abuja or something, and then the other 2 over. And they still can't refine oil. The same matter for us here in Ghana. We have just 1, and we can't refine oil.
We have more than 1.
Well, I'm talking about government refineries. We have 1. Nigeria has 4. And look at the sort of mineral resources Nigeria has in terms of oil. And they ship it all out. And they don't refine it. And from what I'm reading, it's like it's a deliberate thing that industry players do to make money. We all have to address these issues, because I find it quite surprising that Nigeria can actually go without fuel. And there are queues, fuel shortage. So this, we welcome the new president. He's not new to the game. From what we hear, he's been the godfather of politics in Nigeria for over 30 years. He has his godsons and daughters all over the country in different senatorial and gubernatorial positions. So whether he would make any difference, well, let's see. I hope he does make a difference. But I also think that after him, Nigerians like us should consider new faces. The old faces are getting a bit tiring. All over West Africa. I'm done.
Right. Thank you very much, Ms. Dekmo. That was pretty straightforward. Let me come to you, Mr. Afari. Hearty good morning to you, by the way.
Good morning, my brother.
I want your thoughts on yesterday's inauguration or swearing in of the Nigerian President Bola Tinubu. Your thoughts and the expectations you have of him. He's somebody who has gone through the mill, a die-in-the-wool politician, somebody who knows the politics of Nigeria very well. But the problems of Nigeria are effusive. There are an avalanche of them. Most of them, I think, is the issue of insecurity. Started in 2012 or so, where over 200 Chibok girls were kidnapped. Since then, the Nigerian people have not breathed. It's been lots of security issues after one another. Violent extremists and insurgents, people bombing churches and mosques. These problems have been pervasive over the last decade. Now, I heard the outgone president, Buhari, 2 days ago, when he was giving his outgoing speech, or so they call it, he said that he believes that he has left Nigeria better than he came to meet it in 2015 when he took over the reins from Goodluck Jonathan. So I'm sure you've been following Nigeria keenly. They are neighbors, and I'm sure you know what's been transpiring over there. Do you, for a fact, believe that Nigeria over the last decade, or since 2015, it's been better? And going forward, what expectations have you of the current president, Bola Tinubu?
Okay, thank you, Bless. Well, I believe yesterday they had the inauguration of the new president. We would congratulate them, because we all know, or we've heard the news as what transpired during the elections, and even as of now, I think there are certain petitions in court over the elections. So that should tell us that as much as they've been able to maintain peace and calmness in the country, all is not well. There are some politicians or parties in Nigeria who, because they are in court, do not. Yesterday, I was listening to one such interview, who would not want to accept or even to congratulate the new president, because they think the issue is in court and they owe allegiance to their own party while the matter is in court. So it means there's some level of division politically in Nigeria. Those who believe that the elections was not won square and fair by Tinubu and his party, and for which reason they are in court. Yeah, of course, the inauguration event, we have a lot of dignitaries from across the continent who were there, presidents who have been there. I only wish to ask, if the matter is in court as much, and we are gracefully celebrating it, what if it turns round? I don't know what maybe that might be. Like, we've had certain incidents in Ghana where we've gone for election, the matter is in court. Some parties are not ready to accept that the president, I think it happened with the NPP, right? Mm-hmm. The NDC failed to recognize the president whilst the matter is still in court until the Supreme Court issue was over. So there's division. Tinubu's issue about fuel in Nigeria, it was part of his campaign. Mm-hmm. What we understand, Nigeria subsidizes petrol with over $10 billion a year. And then in his campaign, he made it obvious that when he wins, he will scrap that off. So it was not only in his inaugural speech, but it's something he had campaigned for. So I believe the Nigerians should have known, or should be expecting, that this is what, but maybe it had come too early for them. Right from the word go, he's making his intention quite clear to them. Another point we would want to look at is that this is a transition from one party to the same party. It's not like there's a new party coming in. You know, interestingly, the night before the inauguration, when they had the evening ball, the outgoing president said he was going back to his base to go and take care of his sheep and his cattle. and that it is more difficult to manage Nigerians. I wonder how he managed to make such an expression.
He said it in a very calm way.
Yeah.
And he was laughing about it.
Yeah, but he wanted to say it and he has said it.
It's,
He has insulted guy.
it's more
better to read.
It's easier to manage cattle than to manage Nigerians. That analogy, I wonder.
He's done. He's finished. You can't do
He's
it.
going.
You can't do it.
No, but I think it's not fair for
It is unprecedented.
politicians.
Yeah.
Okay, to sometimes speak to their citizens with such kind of impunity. Like, you don't care. I've said it. I'm gone. My party is in power. Have they been able to really resolve their problem? I don't know. I don't know whether African leaders really come in to solve problems or they just come to. Do we even say manage it? Because from one government to government, and it's not only in Nigeria, even in our country here, we don't know what the NPP and NDC have been doing for the past 30 years. We keep going to IMF, all African countries. We keep making promises. Agriculture is not working. We're talking about security in Nigeria. It's been there for decades. It's not like something new. We don't, energy crisis, it's everywhere. It's in Nigeria, it's in Ghana, it's in Togo, it's in Cote d'Ivoire. So the point is, Tinubu's age, the old guards that have been there for 30 years, we call them godfathers, we call them whatever it is, have they really set up to look at our issues and have they provided solution? I don't know what exactly Tinubu might have done for Nigerians to have voted for him if, well, they are saying they didn't vote for him anyway. But our leaders, are they giving us the kind of leadership we need in this country to project us? Africa is going backwards. Youth unemployment is increasing, not only in Nigeria, across the region or across the continent. Energy everywhere. Our natural resources are depleting so fast and it's not having any reflection on our economy. So whether we have oil, we have gold, or whatever we have, it is going. And we are getting poorer and poorer by the day. We only hope that Tinubu, with all his depth and experience, as we've been told, he's been everywhere, should know the country better now. He has his godsons, plus he might be able to place them well, appropriately, to help him solve the myriad of problems that not only Nigeria have. Nigeria is the biggest boy in West Africa. So if Nigeria can step up and stand up for itself, perhaps it will have rippling effect on the other countries as well. ECOWAS doesn't seem to be giving any meaning to the citizens of West Africa. So yes, we congratulate Nigeria. I mean, one of the most important aspects of it is that they've kept their country calm. There haven't been any major violence since after the election, and they've gone ahead to inaugurate their new president. We wish him well. As a Pan-Africanist, I would want to see Africa thrive, the West Africa thrive. So if we hope that the age, the experience of Tinubu should have some reflection, not in the development of Nigeria and across the West African sub-region. Let's call him our grandpa, who has been in the game for a very long time and should be able to give us something better than what we've experienced. So far, it hasn't been so good.
Right, thank you very much. Gabriella Tetteh just joined us. I'll be a tad late, but I'll pardon her for that. Good morning, Gabi.
Good morning.
I trust you're doing okay.
I'm fine.
Right, I'll pick your thoughts. Right, your thoughts on Nigeria, the swearing in ceremony of Bola Tinubu yesterday.
Well, I think, let me say good morning to our viewers, good morning to my co-panelists. I think they've more or less said it all. There's still a court case pending. So even though he's president, there's still a chunk of Nigerians who are not accepting him as their president. But there was something funny that I saw during the inauguration, and why I keep advocating that Africa, we should try and let go of the old men and come with the younger ones. And if you observed when he was being led to the podium and he was going in a different direction, the security had to gradually shift him back to the podium. I felt that he was just out of his environment. In that moment, I wonder what his governance is going to be like. I'm not Nigerian, I will not have to endure his governorship. I'm sure it's common knowledge that I wasn't his fan. For the new kid on the block, Peter Obi, and as far as we are concerned, I'm a fan of Peter Obi, and as far as we are concerned, we're still in court. So we wait for good news in the coming weeks on a new trajectory for Nigeria. I think that it's just having to continue from where Buhari left off. Security in Nigeria is still a big issue. Unemployment is still a big issue. They still have energy crisis, despite the fact that they have one of the largest oil reserves in Africa. And even as members of the largest oil producing organization, they've still not been able to materialize and to transform Nigeria with all those mineral resources. So it will be interesting to see where he leads the country. Of course, as a member of the Sub-Saharan ECOWAS bloc, I'll be interested in they getting their house into order, because as is evident from Central region, when you come into Kasua, you know that we have new citizens from Nigeria. That is one of the first places they call their home when they come into Ghana. I live in Adenta, and there's also a large Nigerian population also there. At one point in time, I had the benefit of even employing a few of them to do things for me. So, as a member of the ECOWAS bloc, their security of interest to me as an individual, and I'm very sure to the interest of Ghana as a country. We wish them well. I hope that the citizens, looking at how vociferous they've been the last 2-3 years in Buhari's reign to deal with issues of police brutalities and security and unemployment, the youth especially have acquired a new voice, a stronger voice, to advocate for their needs in Nigeria. And I expect that they will hold this government also accountable to provide them jobs, to be able to fix the naira and the dollar, to be able to build a society where they don't now have to migrate to other African countries just to earn a living. If you look at the data of the migrants who are moving from Nigeria to Libya to Europe, it is staggering. The International Organization of Migration had to even partner one of the states, I'm trying to remember which of the states, they've partnered one of the states to develop a park where they try to find a more humane means of getting these people to migrate out of Nigeria. I saw that program on TV. Most especially, this will surprise you, most especially the women. So there's a lot of work to be done in Nigeria. Since we're talking about Nigeria, let me also credit Dangote for launching his new oil refinery. In Nigeria, even though they process so much oil, they export 97% of their crude, and they end up importing 99% crude into their economy because they have serious challenges with refinery. They try to get more local businesses and entrepreneurs into the oil refinery business. Many of them took licenses under Jonathan, the presidency of good old Jonathan, and were not able to adequately provide the facilities for it. So I think after Jonathan, when Buhari came, they were able to do just about 30% of their local production, refine 30% of their local production. Now with Dangote's refinery, they'll be able to increase that capacity to half of their output. So I think that it's a move in the right direction. That will create jobs for Nigerians. That will help them to keep the forex in Nigeria. They'll be able to now use their own crude, and then they'll also be able to address issues with the black market, where people are siphoning fuel that is meant to go out for refining and brought back to Nigeria. Again, with the conversation on the crude, at the time when our own toll was operating, Nigeria was one of our biggest customers. So if Nigeria is now looking at inward processing of crude, I think that Ghana also should consider revamping toll so that we can also process our own crude instead of having almost 90% of our crude production also exported out and having to import so much refined crude products into this economy. We all know now there's a good for oil just because we need dollars to be able to bring these products in. But if we are able to process our own, I think that it cuts down on the demand for forex. And then we'll also be able to create more jobs for our teeming youth. There's a Chinese-owned refinery which is now coming on stream. I think the president recently commissioned it also, or he's yet to commission it. There's one that is owned by the Russians, which is also here. But where does Ghana stand as a nation in our oil processing infrastructure? It's something worth looking at also. So that is where I'll end my conversation on Nigeria's election.
Right. Right. Thank you so much. You two can share your thoughts with us. I'll be more than glad to read your messages as the show progresses. I see that you've sent lots of them already. But let's jump on to our next topic. By-election beckons NPP and NDC invade Assin North. By-election beckons NPP and NDC invade Assin North. This is the banner headline of the Daily Graphic newspaper. Well, the Daily Graphic newspaper, they are saying that from Thursday they are going to increase it by 1 cedi, by the way. So those of you who buy graphic from Thursday, actually, instead of 4 Ghana cedis, you'll be buying it at 5 Ghana cedis. But let's look at Assin North. We know that obviously there will be a by-election because of the court's ruling on Honorable Judge Kwesi. I don't know if it is appropriate for me to still address him as such, as honorable, but
he might be in contempt of court.
Well,
because he's been asked to be expunged, which means he never existed as.
Right. But then the National Democratic Congress, they have made their feelings very clear on this particular issue, even in the vetting of the new Chief Justice nominee. And also, they've made it quite clear that it's the same Judge Kwesi that would contest that particular election. I've already seen posters and flyers being circulated over social media of Honorable Judge Kwesi, well. So they are rooting for this man still, but the New Patriotic Party, it appears they are also hell-bent on winning that seat, winning Assin North. So they've already invaded the place, and they are talking to, they started campaigning, I should put it that way, started campaigning with regards to that seat. They want to have more seats in Parliament. So now they are, how many seats stronger? 2 seats stronger, because of the independent candidate who has chosen to do business with the New Patriotic Party. And of course, the person who has succeeded Honorable Atabaswa in the Kumewu constituency. So 136 for the National Democratic Congress, 137 for the NDC.
Was just replaced.
Kumewu wasn't addition.
Right.
It was replacement.
No, but I'm saying 138 because of the deputy speaker, the second deputy speaker, who is doing business with the New Patriotic Party.
But that's always been the case.
He has always been, so 138.
And so it's just Mr. Kwesi who's out.
Well, right. So I'm starting with you, Gabriella Tetteh, on this particular subject matter, the issue of Judge Kwesi. I know there's a criminal case that's also been filed against him. I don't know if that case will be determined before the by-election would take place. And the sort of effect that the outcome of the case could have on his candidacy, whether or not he'll be able to still represent the National Democratic Congress, will be able to represent them in the by-election.
Let me say a good morning to the good people of Assin North. The people on whose grounds Ghana is here to do battle for one parliamentary seat. First of all, I want to say that I don't know if it would make me, put me in contempt of court, but I have a bit of a concern on this whole Judge issue and how things have turned out. You see, bless, before I get into Assin North, as a country, we have our president consistently go out when they travel to meet the Ghanaian community, what we call the Ghanaian in the diaspora, and tell them that they should come back and contribute to national development. And then one man in Canada decides that I'm going to forego my citizenship in Canada and come and serve the people of Assin North. It was the case like Abu Sakandi, who sat in parliament with double nationality. He had started the process of, well, how do we call the process? Not disowning. What do they call the technical term for the process? Denationalizing, denouncing. He had already started the process of denouncing. There are court cases against NDC parliamentarians who were also being questioned on their nationalities. These parliamentarians were representing their constituents and yet going to court to defend themselves till they won their cases. Court was so different about Jejikwesin that he could not still represent the people of Assin North and still go to court. Because the NPP had an agenda against this individual, for whatever reason, only God knows. So whenever I see, since this issue started, when I see President Akufo-Addo and Bawumia and NPP apparatus travel and tell Ghanaians, come and serve this country, I start boiling inside. Compare Canadian citizenship and the benefit of that citizenship to a Ghana citizenship where we are all really in poverty, hardship, discontent, and a country where we can't even can't even put a description to what hope means. Because anytime we attempt to hope as individuals, a government will come and put in some useless policies that will all crash us. And yet this man forfeits that nationality in Canada with all the benefits and comes to serve Assin North. Let me tell you the things that Jejikwesin has done in Assin North, despite what NPP has taken him through. This is one individual. In fact, when I was compiling his list of achievements, I felt like crying. I felt so disappointed in the NPP and this agenda they've taken to persecute this man for whatever reason, only God knows. Bless. This man in Assin North provided 1,200 bulbs, including street lights, to light up Assin North district, his constituency. This man, when the health directorate's only operational vehicle got spoiled, he fixed it. Education Directorate Mahindra got spoiled. I even have the car number. Let me open the page and show you. When the Mahindra even got spoiled, it was this man who changed the engine. This man, let me open my tab.
How many minutes are you giving him?
Don't worry.
Because I have so many things to say.
Even if you give me 5 minutes, I can still say what I want to say in that 5 minutes. Are you bewitching my phone?
I haven't even started.
You haven't started with the
No, so you know me when I start being a witch.
boy.
I haven't started. Today I'm in my
Bless.
non-witchy mood.
Yes. When you look at the things that this man has done for this constituency, he went repairing boreholes. In Assin North, they don't have, Ghana government has not been able to provide them with a water system yet. The Catholic Church was the one that was able to pull from Assin Central for Assin North households, pay the Catholic Church for the connection, and then that is how they get access to water. So for the NDC, for the larger part, since as a government, we have not been able to make that provision. We were rather giving them boreholes. NDC supplied over 109 boreholes across the entire Assin North district. If you come to Jeji Kwason, this man, all these boreholes, which of course when they are utilized, they get spoiled, they need servicing. The ones that were spoiled, this man took it upon himself to service these boreholes. He bought medical equipment for the health directorate to be distributed across the district. This includes microscopes, stethoscopes, cramp beds, weighing scales, heights, I've got the name of that equipment. Something used to check the weight and the height. So many equipment, bless. And yet the NPP still believes that this man is not worth representing the people of Assin North. Going back to try to open my file so I can read it properly to you. My phone wants to misbehave. I lie. And then it is here. Now let me give you a breakdown of all the things he's done. When you come to health, including COVID-19 relief, he donated 300 Veronica buckets across institutions in the district. During COVID, he donated nose masks, surgical gloves, liquid soap, hand sanitizers, plastic basins, Veronica bucket, tissue papers to the following institutions: Assin Akonfudi Polyclinic, Assin Breku Health Center, Assin Praso Health Center, Assin Dansani Chips Compound, Assin Edua Health Center, Assin Bedi Edua Health Center, Basofi Ningo Health Center, Arabo Chips Compound, Odumasi Health Center, Gold Coast Camp Health Center, Emwenin Chips Compound, Atentan Chips Compound, Achiano Chips Compound, Asibrim Chips Compound. He donated mowers to health institutions and communities in Assin Akonfudi Polyclinic, Bedi Edua Health Center, Etweboada Community, Donko Chrome, Ashresu Community, and Gangam. He donated 2 adjustable hospital beds to Gangan Health Center. He purchased medical equipment and supplies for the District Health Directorate for distribution. He supplied 2 single bed crams, 18 liters autoclave, 1 bathroom scale, 1 delivery bed, 1 delivery set, 4 digital BP apparatus, 10 fetoscope, 2 Doppler, 2 glucometer apparatus strips, 2 gun thermometer, 1 wall screen, 2 some other equipment I can't even pronounce. Medical equipment. Have funny names. On and on and on. If you come into education, even in water, he donated in water transport. For those who don't know, River Pra passes through Assin North. And for some of these communities, when they have to cross to the other side, it's a bit of a problem because they don't have enough canoes to do the water transportation. So he donated to facilitate water transport across the Pra River. That's what canoe is at Pra Agave community. He facilitated the upgrade of the Odumase Chips compound to a health center status in collaboration with the Assin North District Health Directorate. He supported the Kofrodo Chips compound project, which was started by the community. When you go into electrification, that's why I was saying that he provided 1,200 street lights to light up Assin North. The beneficiary communities are Assin Praso, Assin Edua, Assin Breku, Yawata, Kwame Ankra, Techiman, Techi Chrome, Sekan Bodua, and Zambori. When because they don't have so many communities on electrification, under the NDC, we were able to send electricity to over 56 communities for rural electrification. The communities that have not been able to get on the grid, he brought in consultant engineers to do the feasibility on how to get all the other communities on electricity. And that is what he was working on before they decided that they don't want him to be in parliament. In water, he repaired the Atentan water system at Assin Atentan. He extended pipe water project to Abuom in Assin Bloku. I can sit here and tell you, he fixed over 10 information centers. When you go to rural Ghana, these things with radios and TVs, some of the signals are not that good for them. They don't have anything to control information and how it is shared. Somebody places content and it's just delivered to them. So in rural communities, information centers are very important for them to be able to also deliver their own messages. He's been able to provide 10 information centers at Gold Coast Camp, Aite, in Krafom, Odumasi, Brioku Presby, Brioku Town, Atrobuanda, Antobuase, Abuterye, Asorifie. In education, he supplied 2,050 mathematical sets to those who are going to write the BEC. He renovated the dilapidated Anka, Dunechi, and Ninchisu basic school buildings. He renovated the Brioku Ninisu basic school, which was in a bad state.
Seriously?
He repaired the abandoned.
She has like 3 minutes more, so.
Why? He repaired the abandoned District Education Directorate Mahindra with registration number.
I'm surprised.
He provided financial assistance to many students, and he's been paying the school fees of a young boy from Assin North who is studying, get this, aeronautic engineering in KNUST. Because he wants to see that the people from Assin North are also becoming something productive to society. He sponsored mock exams for those who are going to write BEC, and that's something he's been doing periodically. He's given sewing machines and hair dryers to those who have gone through the apprenticeship program. I mean, his list is endless. As for donations, he donated to the chief of Praso. He gave him chairs for his visitors. He's donated 2 mosques in the constituency, together with an NGO. Together with another NGO, he's been able to provide water systems to 10 other communities. I thought that if I sit and I say I'm talking about the Chukwesis achievement in Assin North, I've not even finished, because he's been supplying cement and roofing sheets in addition. As for that one, the list is long. Then you come to what NDC has also done in Assin North. You see, if you observed, the NPPs, what do you call themselves, have been standing by the main road and taking pictures and bragging that the NPP has done the road from Assin Fosu to Assin Praso. That road is an NDC project. It was divided into 3 lots, sponsored by the Japanese government. It was initiated under Mills. However, when Ghana became middle-income country, and we no longer had the kind of support that we were getting from bilaterals, and we now had to go for concessionary financing, that project was stalled. So when President Mahama became president, because he used to work with JICA, he used his influence to unlock that facility. That facility is supposed to see to the construction of the road from Jambransa all the way to Obuasi. Under the NPP, they are doing the thing in lots. So they finished from the Obuasi to Assin Praso side. I've almost finished. From the Assin Praso side. Now they are doing the Assin Praso to Assin Fosu Midwifery College side. And so they are telling the people of Ghana that this is an NPP project. That project was never an NPP project. It is just an NDC project that they came to continue with. We are waiting for them to do the Lot 3 as a communication officer for NDC for Central Region. We are waiting for them to start the Lot 3 from Yamransa Junction to Assin Fosu, because that road is equally bad. If they couldn't raise money to do roads with all their so-called year of roads and all those co-meaning, as for that facility, we know that it is here in Ghana, and we expect them to start the process to do the construction of that road as well. So bless, for the Battle of Assin North, we are not afraid at all. We are going back with Jechu Kwesi, because we know how much the people love him, and we know how much he has sacrificed for the people of Assin North. So NPP are buying and they're betting in Hramwa, NDC or this year.
Thank you very much. On that note, I will turn our attention to Ms. Delcom. Take your thoughts on the by-election that would soon be held. We are waiting for the Electoral Commission to, by the way, come and tell us that and give us dates for which this by-election will be held in Assin North.
We are waiting for Parliament, the Speaker, to declare the seat vacant before the Electoral Commission can move in. speaking about the central region, just before we got in here, there's an accident at Ochreku, and 15 people have died just this morning. Honestly, I really do not see what our problem is with this overtaking that is killing us, and we are, useless overtaking. You should see the bus is divided into two. Just this morning, 15 people gone, 20 injured. I heard it's a bus that's coming from Liberia to the Liberia camp. So if they are at Ochreku, they're almost at the Liberia camp. They're just about, Gabriella, how many minutes? About 20 minutes away from the camp. 20 minutes. Okay. So they have gone all the way from Liberia. They didn't die. 20 minutes from their destination. A tanker did an overtaking and there are 20 people dead. Anyway, Assin North. Who came to tell us that the man had not properly what do you mean? Denounced his Canadian citizens? Is it the NPP? When he was going to go for his primaries in the NDC, it was the NDC members, some of them, who protested and brought to the attention of all of us that the man was still a Canadian citizen. So if this morning you are blaming NPP for finishing and promoting and helping us to make sure that he's a Ghanaian, what have we done? Your own people brought it. That he's not even supposed to go for the primaries. And according to them, you people did Libby and Labalaba, they twisted their hands, and you got him. You got him as your parliamentary candidate. Now you are blaming the NPP for what? Is this the first time that somebody, when you are speaking, I didn't speak, please. Let's respect ourselves. Is it our fault that he, knowing the benefits of a Canadian passport and being a Canadian citizen, decided on his good conscience that he wanted to come and serve and come and serve the good people of Assin North? Nobody forced him. He, being a Ghanaian, at heart decided that now it's time for me to go and serve my people. With the benefits of Mr. Sakande's matter, he did not know that he had to denounce it and make sure that it is properly denounced before he filed. When his own people told him in his primaries that you are not qualified, you go back, go around this circle, waste your own time, waste everybody's time, and then today you come and sit here and tell me that it is the NPP. We did not ask him. How many other members were sent to court? The Jomoro MP was sent to court. Didn't she go through? And then another...
The case was pretty different. I mean,
I'm not saying it's the same thing. No cases are the same.
Yeah.
But issues of citizenship, this is not the first one that has happened in Ghana. Somebody was incarcerated. Of course, his facts are different. The Jomoro MP's facts are different. Mr. Jechikwe's facts are different. The Supreme Court of Ghana is not made up of NPP members. The Supreme Court of Ghana says his name should be expunged. If you are going back with the same man, with all the issues that he has, it is up to you, the party. No problem. But so far as his name has been expunged, the elections would happen. You are at liberty to tell us that he bought what? Stethoscopes, and he bought chairs, and he did boreholes. Every MP, everybody who is interested in becoming MP, does something for his people. We have MPs who have sent their constituency members, paid their school fees in universities abroad. At least the latest example I know is the education minister. Didn't he send a whole truck, a whole bus full of students from his constituency to the University of Mines, Takwa? For them to be, what do you call it? Engineers, different types of the sciences. Whether it was sponsored by Gates Fund or from his pocket money, he has made the arrangement. Over 40-something people. So there's nothing new about what he has done. He wanted to be MP. And you are making it sound as if the Canadian living in Canada is better. Of course, if he's living in Canada is better, he should have stayed there. Who forced him to come? When you decide to come, you play by the rules of the game. And the rules of the game, as it is, which I don't agree. Honestly, this dual citizenship matter, for me, I think is one of the things that is really hurting us. This matter of dual citizenship. We are the ones who decided that a Ghanaian born to Ghanaian parents or grandparents can have dual citizenship. We changed our constitution. We amended the constitution, the Citizens Act. We amended it to make those Ghanaians dual citizenship. Why did we do that? We did that because we felt that they had things that they could also bring on board. Now, if we have brought them on board, then we start putting things on their way. You can't do this. You can't do this. There are certain positions, yes, if you have dual citizenship, I think you cannot hold, like the president, like the vice president, like a minister. I agree. But for an MP, I don't see why. Maybe it's because when you become an MP too, you can become a minister. Whatever it is, there's a private members bill that I hear is being sponsored by the Achim Swedre MP to clear this whole matter. We have to look into it and make sure that we take it out and solve that problem. If you remember, there's this professor of law. Is he a professor or law lecturer?
I think that conversation has already been started.
Yes, it's been started. Yeah. But so far as that law remains on our statute book, if you fall foul of the law, it will catch you. Right now, making it sound as if it is the NPP who wants the man out. We want a lot of your MPs out. It's not Mr. Jechi questions only. We wanted the Jomoro MP to out. But that's one when the court said no, she's free to sit on her seat. That one there, the judiciary is the best judiciary in Ghana. They know the law, they know what is right. And the same judiciary says that this one's name should be expunged. That one is MPP's fault. We hear. If that is the campaign you are taking there, we'll meet you on the grounds. As I keep on saying, Agro, and then the form. We'll meet in Assin North.
Right.
I'll be there. After Assin North, we'll be there. I didn't want to go because people were there. Assin North, we'll all be there.
Well, I think from what my sister here said, perhaps the Oman Henry of Assin should make the situation in Kosovo Henry of Assin area. Because he's doing a lot. And this is in Kosovo, bringing in Kosovo to Assin Manso, or whatever it is. So if that is the case, maybe, how do we say, if you still want to be an MP, a man of philanthropy is MP, right? Man, and so then he qualifies for that. But this is a matter of law. Until the law is changed, or whatever it is, Canada is one of, as we are one of the best countries perhaps in the world, and this man was there. And then perhaps he decided to reward his people. See, bless, this is a problem not only with the man, and the NDC and NPP have been doing something Ghanaians have not been watching. In Nkrumah's time, or the CPP, is always identifying local leaders who understands their community, who are with their community people, and bringing them to the fold. During Nkrumah's time, he was being accused of picking ministers who are not really properly educated and kind of stuff. They are going about hunting for business people who have money. NDC and NPP. No, both of you.
No, that's the NPP.
Okay, Jachi Question doesn't have money.
No, we are talking generally. Who goes after this?
So they are going around looking for business people. And I'll tell you some of the problem with that. They are going around.
Yes, we have lecturers, we have teachers.
Oh, when you started, they were going to the teachers, they were going to like people on the ground. Now, where they are taking our politics right now, if you were a teacher and you want to go into politics, unless you go for a electoral area chairman or something, they are looking for business people.
I know a couple of teachers who are in parliament.
Oh no, the check when they have been in parliament. I'm not saying teachers are not in parliament.
Akunoko, Hamza Adam, and they are all even first time.
Honorable Martin Yendam was a teacher, and he became a leader in parliament for the NPP. He's a friend, so I understand. I'm not saying it's bad. No, I'm not saying bless. No, I'm not saying it is bad to have teachers in parliament. What I'm saying is that these two parties now are going around looking for Ghanaians. That's why now they are going abroad. Ghanaians who are rich, businessmen who are rich, and putting them into politics. Some of them, they don't even understand politics. They don't want to be involved in politics. But they give them a lot of promises. Oh, you'll be protected. So if you are an MP, you have some level of immunity. Okay, you can do your business, you can do this. So go to parliament. The MPs who understand the work of Parliament they are not more than 40. The rest are business people. They only come in when they are coming to vote. Vote on the sessions they don't even know about. Anyway, you cannot. NPP here is here to defend himself. My point is that
you want us to look at the people who are in Parliament.
No, I'm saying generally that this is what your two parties.
It is us. The only two architects in Parliament.
Continue.
Okay, so what we are saying is that if leaders, whether political or civil leaders or whatever, are being groomed from the grassroots and get to this, perhaps they will have a better appreciation of their people, and then it will help in our development process. But now, someone is in Canada because he has money to buy stethoscope and whatever it is. We are being told that he's a better member of Parliament who's supposed to be a legislator. He's been in Canada. He doesn't know the local issues. You said it.
That's what I said.
No, so
okay, so then how come he has Canadian citizenship? See, you know,
The fact that people hold
bless Samia Nkrumah had lived abroad. He kept being a Ghanaian.
So compare Samuel Kuma, who was in Italy or wherever she was.
This is not fair. You did your
When you were speaking, saying all the stethoscope and needles, so we are pious. Let him talk.
So what I'm saying is that Jichukwesi he's a Ghanaian. He realized he's a Ghanaian, went outside, denounced his Ghanaian citizenship.
He never denounced his Ghanaian.
Okay, so he went to, okay, so
he holds dual nationalities, or he held one.
Okay,
so for you to talk.
In any case, he denounced his Ghanaian citizenship before we went to the polls.
That is clear.
The point is that
the Supreme Court said no.
he went and he was the benefits of of Canada. So he wanted to take Canadian citizenship. Is that not right? And Gabriella is telling us that it's more lucrative, more fun to be a Canadian than being a Ghanaian.
So he should have stayed there.
Anyway.
He should have stayed there.
So, now, there was something I wanted to ask. Maybe I would ask my sister. Does it need the Attorney General to write to the Speaker of Parliament? The court had made a decision.
Yeah.
Does it need the Attorney General to write to the Speaker of Parliament to ask him to announce the vacancy of the Assin North? I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know if that's supposed to be there.
I don't really know that. But I think that once Parliament reconvenes, I think on 9th June.
Anyway, let's go back to
that
issue.
announcement will be made.
The case was against the Chikwesi and the EC.
Okay.
The EC will write to Speaker
that
following the judgment of so and so, the seat blah 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 has to be declared
vacant. All right.
And Speaker will then take a decision.
Right.
So that's why I had a problem when I heard that the Attorney General had written to the Speaker of Parliament asking him to declare the seat vacant. Okay, now let's go back to Assin North. You see, the issue is not just Assin North. The NPP and NDC once again. You know, our politics actually began in the Central region. Yes, but go to Central region. My mom comes from the Central region. If you want to count the poorest regions in the country, you take 3. Central region is often one of them.
Yeah, true. That's a fact.
So the NPP and NDC who have been fighting over a Central region, Assin North, we are going to go on the ground. I've seen some of the headlines. It's quite funny. What are they doing for Central region? Nothing. They only go there for votes. They win and nothing happens. They only go there for vote, they win, and nothing happens. I think it's about high time that Ghanaians in general will have another look at the NPP and NDC and the kind of politics they are doing in this country as to whether it's being beneficial to the people. 30 years, 32 years of the Fourth Republican Constitution dispensation, nothing. We keep on increasing the number of MPs in Parliament. It doesn't reflect in development. We keep on spending so much in election. It doesn't reflect. We queue. It doesn't reflect. We are not seeing anything. We just came in from Kumewu. The CPP had wanted to contest in Kumewu, and unfortunately, we didn't have much money, so we have to withdraw our candidate. And even that one, some of us believe that there are some undercurrent issues. The CPP is also trying to do work on the ground to see. We are looking for people who will be able to go to Parliament and be able to tell when there's a bad loan that is going to be contracted. Not because their party is this or their party is that. Parliament is becoming one of the biggest problems Ghana has in terms of our economic democracy, in terms of our economic development. Every loan, all the loans we've acquired, and we say we are indebted, they all pass through Parliament. Is this it?
Representation in Parliament before. What was the impact of your representation?
Do you want to go there? Even when Samia was out of Parliament and they were going to pass the Plant Breeders Bill, we were not in Parliament. But you can go and check the kind of effort we had to make to inform and educate MPs on the negative effects that bill was going to have.
On the GMO?
Yes, on the GMO.
But the GMO is already being implemented.
Good. So you see, the point is that with all the effort we made to inform... because you see, people would money when to buy... excuse me to say, buy our decision makers so that I don't get myself. But the point is, we try to see. I have a friend who was an MP, and then when we were discussing this, I had gone to. We made sure that we put information sheets on every pigeonhole in Parliament. So if you go and check parliamentary hazard, the day of the session was suspended by the Speaker, because when we served them, we thought that we provided some information. They withdrew the thing, held on a bit, went around. When nobody is taking notice, they went back and went to pass the bill. Well, that is the problem we have with. But it will come back to haunt us very soon, one day, with this GMO thing that NDC and NPP are, particularly Gabriella, saying that she's happy laughing that they passed the GMO bill. With
I just saw it. Gabby.
Gabby, but the point is that you see, when you are with women, then you just have to be a bit more flexible and accommodative. Otherwise, then it will look like, but it is not fair. What you're doing is not fair. What I'm saying is that we should look beyond the rich people NPP and NDC brings up for as candidates. You see, they go and take businessmen, they put their money in. Then when it comes to after election, when they win, contract seems to be going in a certain direction as to whether the people have the capacity to deliver those contracts or not. They've invested, so they are recouping their investment. And that is the problem we are having as a nation. Once again, until Ghanaians look at the NPP and NDC and think that it's only these two parties that can make this country better, they should think 30 years now, they have not made the country any better. They are selling factories, they are selling lands to themselves and their families. State properties are being, they're just taking everything. And nothing's being done. They've been going to IMF, even when they promise they will not go to IMF, in less than 3 months, they are there. So, the Jachikwesi issue, Gabriella says, is because we need philanthropists. So, I would want to take the opportunity to thank the director of Port, the Rara Government Hospital, through my facilitation, wrote and asked for some hospital equipment. I was just called yesterday that the equipments are ready, we should pick them and give them to the Rara Government Hospital. Do I qualify as an MP? I facilitated the acquisition of the equipment.
I don't know why you are confusing the equation with yourself. Why are you trying to compare yourself to the
Oh, no, you have given the benchmark. You've given... You are giving the bench. No, Gabriella.
Our time is far gone. We have only 15 minutes.
You've given the benchmark for quality being a good member of Parliament. And I'm saying that on Friday, I'm picking medical equipment from the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, okay, to the government, the Rara Government Hospital. You said he did it to NGO, right? This one is corporate social responsibility, which I've managed to facilitate. It's going to the Rara Government Hospital.
And when you go and just the MP somewhere at Rara, then you...
Your MP there, Kwedu is doing nothing.
That one I don't know, so I don't...
No, I'm telling you, your MP there is doing nothing.
On the issue of Assin North.
I thought I will stay there.
1 minute.
You are still giving her 1 minute. After giving her 15 minutes to say all manner of things, including medals, you are still giving her 1 minute.
On the issue of Assin North, we are very lucky. NPP. And even if CPP attempt to
why? To meet NPP and CPP.
He was trying to belittle the personality of Honorable Tetteh. He's not a businessman who was brought by the NDC to come and contest because he was supposed to be some big businessman. He came there to contest as an indigent of Assin North, not an imported indigent. as NPP come.
Then why is he being contested for his citizenship?
No,
why was his citizenship
contested? He's a member of the royal family.
Right.
So the members of royal family of Assin comes from Ghana.
There are two more topics to discuss. Thank you very much.
So they don't come for that.
Thank you very much, Gabi. So there are two more topics to discuss, but I'll pick the very important one.
We have a dual nationality law in this country, which works. The only time this thing comes into contention is when you will take public office. And the man started the procedure to
which he didn't finish.
He
You should have finished.
The time of going to post.
Ah, well.
You people,
according to the
who decided to go and persecute him with your Supreme Court.
with our Supreme Court.
That he is not.
The Supreme Court is not for the NDC. It's not for the NPP. The Supreme Court is for Ghana. When they said Jomoro MP there, she's supposed to sit there. You were happy. Jomoro there is okay. The same court.
Okay, thank
now
you so
say
much.
Somebody should go. That's why I say it's NPP.
Thank you so much. I mean, there are two more topics to discuss. We have only 10 minutes, so 3 minutes each. I'm determining the more important one. MPP flag ownership race hits up Asakuto and Baumia pig forms today. Calls for scrapping of luxury tax on sanitary towels height, and I think the second one is the more important topic. The calls for the scrapping of luxury tax on sanitary towels heightened. And with this particular issue, I think 3 or 4 days ago, when the Chief Justice nominee was being vetted, she was asked a question on the imposition of luxury tax on sanitary towels, whether it was right, it was apropos for women to pay an extra tax on sanitary towels. Her response was that she feels that women and girls in the rural areas should be exempted from it, whilst working class women should pay. But then again, the argument is also that the women who pay or the women who purchase these sanitary towels for the girls are the working class women. So it's still their money that they use to purchase them. But this is a big issue over the past few days, especially because of the fact that 2 days ago, I think it was Sunday or so, was World, Menstrual Hygiene Day. I think it was on Sunday. There've been calls to remove the tax, that extra tax, that luxury tax that has been imposed on this very, very essential commodity. Women do not decide that, okay, I want to menstruate. It is a natural occurrence. So why should they pay extra money for something that naturally happens? Ms. Daaku.
Well, for me, the Menstrual Hygiene Day is a day where we are supposed to be teaching the young ladies who are going to menstruate or those who are menstruating about the whole menstruation matter. In this country, maybe not just in Ghana, in most of our traditional societies, we see menstruation as something like a taboo. But as you said, a woman does not choose to menstruate. It is part of life. It is part of how you are created. On this issue of tax on the menstrual, I'm just realizing that an extra tax, that's what you call the luxury tax.
Yeah.
And I am of the view that, in fact, if we can even get it for free,
yeah,
it is something we shouldn't even be paying for it. Once upon a time, condoms were free in this country. You enter a restroom in any public place and you have condoms. If you remember those days, you have condoms stacked up. You enter hotels, they were there. Whether you want to use it or not, it is there. It is available. Condoms, so.
They will put condoms beside Bible.
Thank you. Condoms. And you choose to have sex. Nobody forces you to have sex. You choose. But rather menstrual pass, that whether you like it or not, it will come. That one we are putting tax on. I totally agree with all the people who are saying that. In fact, for me, I don't even think we should take the tax off. It should be free. We should have government agents. I don't know which one it is.
Ministry of Women and Children.
As for that ministry, we'll talk about them later. But we should have that gives it free. We put it in all the restrooms for these girls, especially in schools.
Yeah.
Primary schools. I heard some people sharing their experiences on how they even got to know about it. And we need to educate our men and our boys so that they know it is part of life. You know, a lot of girls have issues in school because I mean, some of them, they menstruate. They don't even know they are menstruating. They realize it happens in the classroom. And they are teased out of school. Some girls don't go to school when they menstruate. Because they'll solve themselves. People will laugh at them. Those who are laughing at them do not really also understand what is going on. So the education should not be just for the girls. We should also target the boys. My boys at 8 years and at 11 years, they know what it is. Because I started menstruating at 11. And fortunately for me, my mother was not around. It was my father who actually took me through the whole process. Okay. And how many fathers know or are even comfortable enough to talk about these things when they happen with their daughters? Menstruation is part of life. For me, it should not be scrapping of the tax. It should be free.
Free. Right. Thank you so much. Talk about free, though. Here at Pan-African
How can you have condoms free and not menstrual pads free?
Our very own Ivy Abunade in Nakite has started an initiative, the 1 month, 1 pad campaign. She's giving out free sanitary towels to young girls and women in deprived communities. And also, I think July, yes, the end of July, she would be going to Abrim to do the first distribution. If you want to support, you should try your best possible. Just contact us at Pan African Television. We'll be very much happy to receive your support. Let me come to Madam Gabriella.
Well, I thought you go to the man and then the other woman will finish it off. It's a very worthy request, because this is something that every single day somebody is menstruating. And I don't know why government wants to benefit.
300 million women in the world menstruate every day.
Well, that's a lot of blood. But, God. That whole thing gave me a picture of vampires. It's a very noble cause. And I don't understand why government wants to benefit from something that is of necessity to females. The call for scrapping of taxes is one that everybody should support. How much will government make from this? Like, was $20-25 million per year. I'm sure we could find that money elsewhere. But looking at just how people, especially the less deprived and the youth, the less deprived and the youth, go through just be able to acquire sanitary towels. Today, and most of these products are also imported. A vast chunk of this product is not going for anything less than 17 cedis. Yeah. Almost all the big brands, even the ones that are made from China and imported here with different names, 17 cedis, 20 cedis. It is expensive for a lot of young girls and for people who are not economically strong. And so many of them are having to resort to other things to try and solve the problem. Feminine hygiene is important to the health and well-being of every single female. And as such, the NGOs, civil societies, activists, human rights activists, everybody who is supporting this, that we should take away the taxes of this product, I think is doing a very, very good job. And we should be encouraged and to keep making the advocacy. Baumia was on one platform telling us that they were going to not only scrap the taxes, that they were also going to manufacture the product in Ghana. I am here to see which of the one district, one factories is producing this. In Rawlins's area, when I was in secondary school, there was a company called Fatex.
Yeah, I remember Fatex.
That's still good.
Are we supporting them to be able to help us to cut down on the importation of these parts? We have always coming from Hungary. We have Roper and Proper and My Lady and First Lady and all these plenty brands, Yas, all of them coming from China. How much of that is produced here in Ghana? Negligible. Negligible. So there's a lot of work to be done, but there's a huge demand also for it. Let me also add that aside even the sanitary parts, there's also this innovation, the menstrual cups. Have you seen that one? Very silicone, very little cup that they insert to collect the blood.
Is it tampon?
And it's washed, no, not tampons. It's a little cup that's inserted.
It's a bit uncomfortable.
But you get used to it eventually. So I even advocate more for the use of the cups, especially for those who are donating in rural communities, so that you just have to teach them how to keep it hygienic. after your flow, you wash it every single day, if possible, soak it in hot water, and then it can be used again. So you don't have to go to the repetitive cost of buying sanitary towels at 20 cedis if you can't afford. And let me also land on this. There is also a very important call, because in Central Region, I'm sure you have heard that in places like Elmina, Ola, where young girls can't afford these things, they get into sexual relations and it becomes transactional, so they can go and afford parts. They go, there's this stupid thing they call shelishe or something like that. Shelishe, where guys will burn the candle, have sex with a girl for 10 cedis, and until the candle burns out, he's not finished. He goes and brings his friends to come and continue the job. Just so that, and that 10 cedis doesn't even buy any sanitary towel in Ghana these days. So it's a very unfortunate thing that because of poverty, we subject girls to this. Just scrap the whole thing.
Right. Mr. Farid, briefly.
Bless. It's rather a shame that we have such a tax. You see, I was just talking about the kind of people we have in our parliament, because certainly this tax went to parliament. There were women in parliament. There are men who have daughters in parliament, and they sat down. It went through the finance committee of parliament and approved for such a tax to be imposed. And it's funny they even call it luxury tax. If you've gone to villages, unfortunately for some of us, we have all girls.
Like my dad.
Yes, and then you see, well, my girl, you go to places and they don't even know what sanitary pad is. Something they need. And then the few who are trying will make effort to get it. You see that as a luxury. Something that is natural. It will happen naturally to every woman. If you don't even have children as an MP, or as those who took that decision to impose tax on the sanitary towels, if they don't even have, they have mothers who had gone to their half sisters, and they were never reasonable to think that this is a natural thing, is a necessity for the women. If you cannot help them, you impose tax on them. What kind of people do we have in our parliament? And what kind of governance and policies are we really imposing on our people? That you impose tax and call it luxury tax because you think that it's been imported. You see, that is even, they see it as an opportunity, but that is also a reflection of our failure as a nation. That we import sanitary pads from China and we are happy. What happened to import substitution? What happened to industrialization? We can't produce anything like sanitary pads, we cannot produce it, and rather imposing taxes on them. You see, because, they were just looking at the numbers. Okay, so if you have 50% or more than half of our population being women, majority of them, so let me give you an example. If you have 12 million youth in this country, and let's say even like 6 million of them are females, I'm just telling how they go about these things. So 6 million, they will go and buy pad. If they buy, each of them buy one pad a month, okay? And then times 6 million, that is 6 million cedis, right? That's one pad. And even if the pad is 1 cedi, but the pad is not certainly 1 cedi. But if they impose a 1 cedi tax on it, this is the money they are making. So they are only thinking about where they make money. And not even where the money, we end up to ask them, where did the money go for the benefit of that tax? Is it going to support other women or deprived women or to do anything? No. It goes back to consolidated and somebody else have benefit of it. Right. As I'm saying, it's not just that we have to remove the tax. It's actually a shame to us as a nation that we have such a tax.
Right.
In our books.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ferry. And also, this will be displayed on your screen, so you should join the Hussein Ibrahim family in Bolga to mourn their mother. This is from Haja Amdatu. I mean, that's the reason she's been absent from our show the past couple of weeks. So, yes. So the funeral, I understand, would be held in Bolgatanga, but of course, the person has already been buried according to Islamic tradition. Right. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Thank you, Ms. Dekun. Thank you, Mr. Ferry. Thank you, Gabriella Tetteh. It's always a pleasure to have you on the show. The show comes away again tomorrow at 8 a.m. Do want to join us and continue to watch Pan-African Television. Do have a pleasant morning. Bye-bye.